Have you ever had anything that you know you shouldn't buy and yet you still want to anyways? For me, it's this car. This is a Maserati Quattroporte GTS. And that GTS is important since if it was an S or an SQ4, it would have a measly V6. But the GTS model gets a twin-turbo 3.8 liter V8 pushing 523 horsepower and 524 pound-feet of torque. But you won't see much of a difference in the 0 to 60 time since the GTS model can do it in 4.6 seconds. While the SQ4 can do it in about 4.8. You can really see that the design is sleek and distinctive, featuring the signature concave grille with the large trident emblem, 3 chrome porthole vents on the front fenders, and a coupe-like roofline flowing into a muscular rear end. It's larger in every dimension than the previous model, giving it an imposing presence on the road. The result is gorgeous sheet metal that exudes Italian flair and exclusivity. This is a sedan that stands out in a parking lot of look-alike German executives. Details like the aggressive headlamps, LED taillights, and optional 20 or 21-inch alloy wheels add to its drama. Maserati's heritage cuge, the Saetta logo on the C-pillar, the subtle creases along the hood, remind you this is a handcrafted Italian exotic rather than a mass-market luxury car. Stepping inside the 4-door Italian mob car, you're greeted by an opulent Italian cabin that blends traditional luxury with some modern touches, albeit the modern touches are usually outdated for the time. As you'd expect from Maserati, almost every surface can be wrapped in rich materials. You can have supple leather on the seats and dash, genuine wood or carbon fiber trim on the console. This one has open-pore dark wood, which just feels super sturdy and super luxurious. The same material that CEOs make their desks out of. This one also has the Alcantara headliner, which is super soft and adds a distinct sense of luxury. And the craftsmanship is top-notch, with beautifully stitched patterns. Some special editions even offered silk fabric inserts by a fashion house that I'm just going to put their name on screen because I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, for an extra dose of elegance. The 2014 redesign brought a more user-friendly control layout. The center stack is dominated by an 8.4-inch infotainment screen that was also shared with a lot of Chrysler products of the time because Maserati was owned by Chrysler, which is a pro and a con. The upside is that it's easy to use even if it's not as exclusive as the rest of the cabin. Seating is spacious and comfortable, a major improvement over the previous Gen Quattroporte. Thanks to the stretched wheelbase, the rear seat has ample legroom and is now an incredibly opulent place for passengers on long drives. This car almost feels like a limo while you drive it. 5 adults can ride in comfort with the standard setup, or for true executive transport, Maserati offered an optional 4-passenger configuration with dual rear bucket seats separated by a center console, dropping the middle seat. Inlays of wood, the iconic Maserati analog clock on the dash, and available power rear sunshades add to the limo-like feel. Practicality isn't forgotten about either. The trunk capacity swelled to 18.7 cubic feet, roomy enough for luggage and skis for the whole family. Overall, the Quattroporte's interior envelops you in Italian luxury charm. But this interior definitely has its drawbacks, such as the Italian craftsmanship is a double-edged sword because not only does it look beautiful, but it'll also wear kind of terribly. Things like the leather dash already pulling away from the main structure and folding. It also has one of the, if not the worst shifter in any car I've seen before. The shifter is very unintuitive when you shift from drive to park. Most of the time, it actually ends up in reverse or neutral, which is very scary because most people kind of tend to do the drive to park swing in one motion since it's kind of basically just forward. But then you'll end up in reverse, not notice, take your foot off the brake and open the door, and the car is rolling backward into the car behind them. You also have a hilariously bad quality backup camera that looks exactly like the camera footage from the lunar lander in the 60s. And I just want to talk about this infotainment screen just a little bit more. The Chrysler unit that they have in here was outdated even for 2014, and 11 years later, it is damn near ancient. The buttons are all super old. The settings look like they literally came out of Windows 98. You also have sounds that can only be described as the ATM terminal for some reason, which is unfortunately a very stark departure from the rest of the car. The rest of the car is very elegant leather. It's very well put together. The wood, the chrome, it just all works. It all feels very luxurious, very well put together. And then you have something so garish like the infotainment screen from 1997. And the rear seats definitely deserve special mention. I'm about 6'1", sitting behind my own driving position, and you can just kind of tell how much room you have in the back here. There's so much room, I can literally just sit like this, as an Italian would actually sit, and just smoke my cigar as most people actually would have done in the back of a Quattroporte. All right, let's talk about how the 2014 Quattroporte drives. Obviously, this twin-turbo V8 version has a Ferrari-derived block in it, and it's actually built by Ferrari technicians in Maranello. So with such Ferrari heritage and supercar DNA, you would expect it to drive exactly like an exotic Italian car, and it absolutely delivers. In everyday driving, the Quattroporte is actually very comfortable, but a little bit firm. The ride quality will kind of depend on which wheel size you get. This car is sitting on the 21-inch size, which is a bit firm compared to the 19s. But honestly, it's still nice and comfortable, and you can daily drive this no problem. Obviously, this car isn't an S-Class, so it's a pretty good blend of comfortable enough when you need it, but sporty enough when you actually want to have some fun. And again, in comfort, the transmission stays out of your way. It's nice and comfortable. You don't feel the gears shifting at all. The engine is nice and quiet, so it doesn't produce any drone into the cabin. But the moment you put it into sport mode and floor it, you get that rush of Italian Ferrari-bred fun. Power is very immediate with little turbo lag, but just a ton of kick. You have that ZF transmission is really good. It shifts pretty quickly and stays out of your way, giving you ample power. What really sets it apart from its comfort-based rivals, the chassis balance is excellent. With a near 50-50 weight distribution with 51% front and 49% rear, it really shows through corners. Turn the wheel and the Quattroporte responds with an eagerness that belies its size. This twin-turbo Ferrari V8 lives up to its lineage, so if you hit the gas a little too hard during a corner, you're gonna be oversteering like crazy, which is just how the Italian founding fathers intended it to be. Not that most owners will drift their Quattroporte, but the ability is still there. The steering is absolutely excellent for a big sedan. This is hydraulic steering, which is pretty rare for a car of this class, meaning that it's very communicative through corners. It's very communicative about grip levels, where the tires are. So it gives you a very strong sense of confidence when you're throwing this car around a canyon. And also, this isn't a super light car, so you do feel its weight around the corners, but it actually comes to its benefit in higher speed driving because the weight actually gives it really good stability when you're going 100, 120 down the Autobahn, because we can't legally do that here in California on the I-5, but you'll just have to take my word for it. But like with anything in life, everything comes with a catch. And unfortunately, the Maserati Quattroporte has quite a few of them. First of all, you should probably take a look at the mechanical concerns that this car has. Earlier production models had problems with the fuel lines, which would not only leak, it would risk heavy engine fires just spontaneously, both of which led to recalls. The V8 models also had a recall for an alternator/starter cable, which could literally set the car on fire randomly while parked. You had a critical suspension flaw, which involved improperly torqued rear tire rod bolts that could loosen and cause sudden loss of rear wheel control. Owners of the SQ4 all-wheel drive model reported tire scrubbing in tight turns, causing premature tire wear. Maserati just brushed it off and said it was a quirk of the all-wheel drive system rather than a defect. Some V6 models also experienced unexplained engine misfires leading to complete engine failures. One owner actually had their engine blow up under 20,000 kilometers.
You thought it was over.
And the problems don't stop there. Electrically, the Quattroporte had multiple trouble spots. A major recall addressed seat wiring harnesses that could short and cause a fire under the seat if damaged by seat adjustments. Owners obviously reported everything from infotainment freezes to failing parking sensors, random false alarms from the security system. We also had a fairly dangerous issue which involved the floor mat trapping the gas pedal, making it stick wide open. So you basically were just flooring it everywhere. A recall replaced the mat and pedal cover to prevent unintended acceleration, but everyone just attributed that to the handcrafted Italian nature of the car. And due to all of these reliability issues, the Maserati Quattroporte went from costing about $120,000 MSRP to now you being able to find one on Auto Trader for about $17,000. So you're probably better off looking and not touching with this Maserati.